I don't know what he was doing. It was weird. It was weird to see that type of fighting. But anywho, that's not Jake Paul's fault. So Jake Paul did what he needed to do, and he won, and he looked good.
Jake Paul looked really good. I think he won all the rounds. I mean, it's good for boxing. I think he deserves a chance to fight for a world title.
Jake Paul did get fatigued down the stretch, but he still held on.
The boxing world had mixed reactions to Jake Paul's victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Ryan Garcia tweeted, "Jake did his thing. Outbox Chavez Jr. legendary fighter Shane Mosley praised Jake's performance, saying he moved well and fought a smart fight, but didn't hold back on Chavez Jr., calling his behavior weird and suggesting it might be time for him to retire." Many fans and analysts echoed similar sentiments, acknowledging Jake's growth while questioning Julio's effort and future in the sport.
Jake Paul fought a great fight. You know, he moved around the way he's supposed to, throwing great punches. And for the experience he had, he did fantastic. Junior, on the other hand, he didn't throw any punches until the third or fourth round or something. He was just kind of walking forward, and I don't know what he was doing. It was weird. It was weird to see that type of fighting. But anywho, that's not Jake Paul's fault. So Jake Paul did what he needed to do, and he won, and he looked good.
Where do you think Junior goes from here, in your opinion, Shane?
Junior needs to retire from here.
Junior needs to retire.
He needs to retire. I mean, if you can't throw any punches in 2, 3, 4 rounds, you need to retire. I mean, if you can't, what are you doing? What are we doing? You just living off. Basically, you're living off your father's name. Yeah. That's basically what you do, because you didn't even fight until the last round, maybe last two rounds, and threw some punches, and you had some success when you threw some punches.
Meanwhile, Piers Morgan didn't mince words. "I had a better fight with Jake Paul on Thursday than the unwatchable farce tonight," he said. "The guy's lining his pockets with dollars, but he's killing boxing with this boring stage bull against older fighters way past their prime." In contrast, rising star Rayo Valenzuela had high praise for Jake, stating that he looked sharp throughout the bout and deserves to be considered among the top 15 to 20 in his division. For someone inside the sport to say that shows Jake is no longer just a YouTuber dabbling in boxing, he's a real contender earning real respect.
To the fight. Oh, great fight. Julio's back after all he's been through, so, I tip my hat off to him. It's not easy, especially through, when life throws at you sometimes, but, it was a good fight.
What'd you make of how Jake Paul looked and fought?
He's doing his thing. Jake Paul's looking good. Shout out to him. Yeah.
Do you think he's ready to fight maybe a top 15, top 20?
Sure, yeah.
So I guess where does Junior go from here, in your opinion?
It's up to him. He can retire if he wants, or he can have another, fight like this. Fight a YouTuber or something.
Yeah.
Adding to the growing praise, Jose Benavidez Sr., father and trainer of elite fighter David Benavidez, was impressed. After watching Jake's win, he said Jake looked really good and even floated the idea of a future fight between Jake and David. He emphasized that Jake now deserves a shot at a world title. Coming from a coach who's trained top-tier talent, that statement marks a turning point. Jake isn't just seen as entertainment anymore. He's being taken seriously as a fighter.
I think Jake Paul looked really good. I think he won all the rounds. I mean, it's good for boxing. I think he deserves a chance to fight for a world title. He proved it today with the ex-world champion, Julio Cesar Chavez, that, he dominated and he did really good.
What did you think of Chavez's performance? Early on, he didn't throw a lot, and then towards the end, he had some moments. Were you disappointed in Chavez?
Well, I thought, he was going to try to get Jake Paul a little tired. He was blocking and taking all his shots, but I think he just got tired, and couldn't execute it. So Jake Paul did a great job.
Respected boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult also weighed in. Known for his no-nonsense takes, Showbiz said Jake has improved far more than most people want to admit. He argued that fans often judge Jake based on his past, ignoring his clear technical growth. Jake has developed timing, discipline, and ring IQ, he explained. It's not about hype anymore, it's about skill.
I looked at Jake. I was saying, thank you, Jake. Yep, I was saying, thank you, Jake. A lot. The thing is, not to say that because he beat a 6-year-old Mike Tyson that, you know, that impressed me with. What I'm saying is you couldn't really see everything that Jake possessed in that fight. He has gotten way better. I saw him training, and I'm like, the guy is good. He messed around and got good. You don't like Zurdo fight? Zurdo looked, I mean, that was one of the best I've seen, but the best times I've seen him. No, Zurdo won this clear to me. Don't forget that was a point deduction. Well, 115, 113. I mean, 113, 112. 117, 110. Yeah, it was clearly Zurdo. Yeah, it was clearly Zurdo, bro. I mean, Zurdo was making a miss, and Zurdo was really, I was impressed by his defense.
Ringside footage made it clear how one-sided the fight was. Jake Paul dominated from the opening bell, while Chavez Jr. barely threw any meaningful punches. Jake's jab, footwork, and conditioning kept him in control the entire time. Observers noted that Jake didn't just outwork Julio physically, he also outclassed him mentally, fighting with confidence and poise every round.
Jake Paul has defeated Chavez Jr., right? This fight, Chavez got active in them last 3 rounds and he really showed his power. But throughout most of the fight and throughout those first 5 or 6 rounds, right, most of us were saying, is Chavez here to fight or not? Because he was not throwing very much at all. And then you thought maybe the strategy is let Jake Paul get tired because he's not used to going 10 rounds. And then maybe in those last couple rounds you could get him. But Jake Paul did get fatigued down the stretch, but he still held on. He looked well even in the final 3 rounds when Chavez was pouring it on enough to get over the top. I'd say it's impressive considering Chavez Jr. is a former champion for Jake Paul. Probably going to get a title shot soon. My question to y'all is, what did y'all think of the fight? When Chavez first came out, man, I'm like, he's not throwing. Jake Paul looked really active. I go, when is Chavez going to throw? Then Chavez began to throw, and you thought maybe the strategy is let Jake Paul get tired and then try to beat him down the stretch, right? Which I think that was the strategy. But Paul proven to hang on, and Chavez goes down in this one. So guys, what do y'all think about the fight? What do you think about Jake Paul's performance, and can he get a title shot?
At the post-fight press conference, Jake spoke with the same confidence he displayed in the ring. He showed respect to Chavez Jr., praising his toughness and Mexican warrior spirit, but didn't shy away from calling out critics. Actions speak louder than words, he said, responding to those who doubted his durability and skill. This win wasn't just another notch on his belt, it was personal validation. Jake proved he belongs in real boxing conversations.
It's between you and Cesar Chavez Jr. tonight. Now, in round 9, the heat really turned up. Did you feel the Mexican power that he promised, or do you feel like he didn't perform the way you thought that he would?
No, yeah, he brought a hard fight there at the end, and that's that Mexican warrior style. I don't know how he was eating all those punches, to be honest. My hands low-key hurt from his face, and so respect to him. He had good cardio, and he came on strong at the end. He's a very, very strong guy, had a lot of power, but people underestimate my chin and my ability and my toughness.
Jake, Jonathan Agger of Pro Boxing Fans. During the week, you had a viral interview with Piers Morgan where he said that he didn't think that you would beat Chavez. He felt like when you fight a former world champion, you'll come unstuck. What did you prove to not only him, but other people that have criticised you?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words, so people can sit behind their desks and sit on their TV shows and say a lot of things about my career, but everyone's tuning in, everyone's watching, and I just continue to win.
And you mentioned Anthony Joshua. Does it end there? Would you want to bring Tyson Fury out of retirement?
Man, there's too many people for me to fight. I need more time. At the end of the day, that's the only thing I can't do is create more time. So we'll see what happens.
Jake's performance also cast a shadow over Piers Morgan's earlier skepticism. Before the fight, Piers dismissed Jake's career as more show than substance, saying he hadn't faced a prime pro yet. But Jake ignored the noise and stayed focused. He promised to prove his worth, and he did. Against a seasoned opponent, Jake showed not just physical skill, but mental discipline. He made it clear that he's not here for clout, he's here to compete.
Shit, YouTube this, YouTube that, Disney that. This shit is not a joke. I'm knocking out the best of the best, beating all of these people time in and time again. And it's about time that you old heads and all these fucking boxers who think they know about the sport put some respect on my name.
Yeah, but you're not going to get, look, you're going to make a ton of money. Listen, I think as a businessman, you are brilliant, right? I give you full credit for that. When you took on Mike Tyson as a business enterprise, there's no argument. You absolutely crushed the numbers, crushed the money and everything else. But the idea that you can say on the one hand, I'm a killer, I get in the ring with the best people, and you get in the ring with a guy who's 50, he's literally nearly as old as me.
I'm not talking about Mike Tyson, I'm talking about Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, champions in their sport, Golden Gloves champions, Ryan Borland, Andre August, undefeated fighters. The list goes
but what
on
great
and on.
boxer have you been in the ring with?
Former world champion on Saturday, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., son of the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, besides me, of course. Like, I don't know what you guys want to see. I tried to fight Canelo. He ducked out of it. You asked him about that. You said he's going to kill me. So what do you want? You're laughing when you say, oh, Jake is going to fight Canelo. I think you would kill him. But then you're like, oh, you're not fighting this guy. You're the problem here with this whole situation and criticism of my career. I'm trying to fight the best people, and that's why Chavez is here on Saturday. I want Canelo. I want Anthony Joshua. I want all these people. It's been 5 years in this sport.
But the problem is the only proper boxer you fought was Tommy Fury, and he beat you. And he's not even the best. He's not even the best fighter in his family.
Golden Gloves champion Andre August, Brian Borland as well. Anderson Silva was an undefeated boxer. I mean, you can sit there and make up shit, but you actually don't know your facts. I fought multiple boxers with professional records, and including Mike Tyson himself, who I think is going to be a harder fight than Chavez.
Boxing veteran Tony Jeffries applauded Jake's dedication. He noted that Jake surrounded himself with elite trainers, top-tier nutritionists, and a pro-level camp. According to Jeffries, it wasn't about money, it was about commitment. Jake trained like a Real fighter, and the results were undeniable. His environment allowed him to improve quickly and treat the sport with the respect it deserves.
Now, one huge advantage of having money is he can hire the best team in the world. He can have the best things possible. Like, he's got a hyperbaric chamber in his home, but he's got the best kind of chamber. This is helping him with recovery. Normal fighters can't afford to do this. So because of this, he's got that advantage. Now, you might be thinking, well, him getting in a hyperbaric chamber for recovery is not going to help him be a better boxer. Well, my friend, let me tell you, it is. And the reason why it is, if you think you've done a hard boxing training session and you've got another one the next day because fighters train like once, twice, even 3 times a day, you're going to recover faster. If you recover faster, what happens? You perform better on the next session. So let's just say an average boxer is progressing like this because they're not recovering properly. Jake Paul is recovering and progressing like this. We've seen how fast he has progressed, whether you like him or not. He's come from 0 boxing experience to where he's at now. Now you might be saying, well, Tony, he's fighting old men. Oh, mate. Just look at who Floyd Mayweather fought on his 6th fight, then look at who Jake fought on his 6th fight, and just see here the comparisons right there. Now back to the money. Having that money, he's doing hyperbaric chambers. He's got the best sports scientists, the best trainers around. And if I was still fighting right now and I couldn't afford what Jake's got, what I would be doing is watching what he's doing. Now you might think that is absolutely crazy. Why would I want to watch Jake Paul? Well, because like I said, he's got the best equipment, he's got the best trainers, he's got the best team that money can buy. If you can take snippets of that for in your training, you know, he's doing something right.
Jake Paul's confidence before the fight wasn't just for show. He told everyone he would win, and he delivered. This time, he cut out distractions and fully committed to training. Sources from his camp confirmed his focus was razor sharp. With his dominant victory over Chavez Jr., Jake's vision is starting to take shape. What once seemed like fantasy is now looking like a legitimate legacy in progress.
It's not going to be me, but I'm training harder than ever. I know this is my toughest opponent yet. Maybe not the biggest name opponent yet, but it's still going to be a super, super good fight. So make sure everyone pull up Anaheim, California, Ticketmaster.com. Be there, baby.
I was going to say that, you know, do you think this is the toughest opponent? Obviously, he's still a guy who was, you know, he's not all that old. He's got a ton of fights. He's got, I think, 61 pro fights. Think this is the toughest challenge for you if you take everything into consideration?
Yeah, taking everything into consideration and how hard he's training behind the scenes, people saying that this is the most serious he's ever taken a fight, and the fact that he's a former world champion, 30-something knockouts, and I think he wants to put Mexico on his back and represent, and he doesn't want to lose to a guy like me because he knows that's going to hurt his legacy that he's built for himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jake, if you see video of him, it looks like he's training hard. I think if there's one criticism, obviously, as you know, of his that people have always said is that, hey, he doesn't train hard, doesn't work as hard as he should, but he's a guy with a lot of talent. But if he is working hard and he does still have that talent, obviously, that could make for a dangerous opponent, couldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I bring out of my opponents. You know, even when I fly sparring partners in, they go harder than they normally do with other guys because they want to prove a point because it's me. They don't want to get beat up by a guy who's only been doing this for 5 years or so. So they always bring their A game, and that's why I'm always at my best as well because I have to bring my A game every time.
Youth was a clear advantage. Jake came into the ring with explosive energy, strong stamina, and the hunger of someone with something to prove. Chavez Jr., in contrast, looked like a fighter weighed down by time and inconsistency. His experience couldn't keep pace with Jake's relentless drive. The fight proved that Jake's youth, discipline, and conditioning gave him the edge, physically and mentally.
His answer he can. He's like, yeah, every fight's different. He's young, so he has a lot of energy. I think that, you know, Jake also has a lot of power. Chavez Jr. has never seen. Again, he's moving up, I don't know how many weight classes from middleweight. Probably never fought a guy that hits as hard as Jake does. Not to say that Jake's, you know, exorbitantly powerful or anything like that. He may be, but it's just he's a cruiserweight. Chavez Jr.'s fought, I think, once at cruiserweight, maybe twice now. Jake's youth is a massive factor for him. Chavez Jr. is 39. He's not, you know, 50 or whatever, but got a lot of boxing miles on him, has some, obviously, outside of the ring substance issues, been out of the ring and on and off for the last however long, has taken massive breaks, so all that's going to factor in.
Leading up to the bout, many dismissed it as just another Jake Paul publicity stunt. Critics expected Julio to win and finally expose Jake as a fraud. But Jake flipped the script. He trained like a professional and dominated a former world champion.
Breaking news, Jake Paul is going to be taking on former world champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in a fight that I think is going to fool a lot of people. And what do I mean by fool a lot of people? What I mean is people are going to, on paper, look at this and be like, oh, Jake Paul gets schooled here, gets schooled here. Chavez Jr. is 39. He was not known as a very disciplined boxer during his prime. That's one of the reasons he had such a heavy decline. He's also a lot smaller than Jake Paul. What I will say about Jake Paul is he is a genius, or his team and management are geniuses at giving him opponents that people on paper look at and be like, oh, Jake Paul's not a real fighter, he won't be able to beat this guy. This is very, 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 very minimal risk for Jake Paul. The only factor that could come into play here is if Chavez Jr. decides he actually wants to show up properly for this fight, conditioned, and use his experience to win. But Jake Paul, for me, and his team have been very, very careful about who they matchmake him against ever since the Tommy Fury fight. You know, ever since here, we haven't seen him in there with someone his own age, his own weight, and his own sort of experience. For me, if Jake Paul wants to be a YouTube boxer still, and he wants to be considered an influencer boxer, matchmaking him against these guys that on paper, oh, this is a big challenge for Jake Paul, in reality not really, is okay. But I think if Jake Paul actually is what he says he wants to be, and he wants to make that step up, man, he's going to have to take risks.
This wasn't just another win, it was a statement. And this time it mattered.